What's going on, guys? MechaGig back with another video. Sorry I'm laughing. I've tried to start this video like 10 times now and something keeps coming up in like 5 seconds into it. We are taking a look at the Necromancer again today. We are back. It's been a little while since we've done a Necromancer build. And I think the only one I really covered... No, I covered the pet build too, didn't I? I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, we're covering the Trag'Oul's build. This one focuses solely on Corpse Lance, Blood Lance, and it is the current top leaderboard build. You can see here it's cleared 111, and probably the reason this build apparently was overtaking Bone Storm already, and then Bone Storm got nerfed because the hit rate on Mirene was supposedly striking too often, so they nerfed that chance, and that did hit that build pretty hard. I still did an 83 with that build this morning fairly easily, so it didn't hit that build too hard, but supposedly this build is kind of the strongest right now, and you'll see why for good reason later. Now, one thing I do want to start out with saying is this build is kind of gimmicky. In the sense that you're not going around killing any trash. You're completely hunting for elite packs, and then you're just basically tearing up elite packs in a few seconds. Basically, in the time Land of the Dead is on for 10 seconds. So there's a skill that yeah, you can extend the time. But really, Frozen Lands is where you want to be. You want enemies to be stunned around you because you don't want to be taking any damage. So, yeah, you want to be able to spam your Corpse Lance, even though it costs 2% health. We'll get all into that in a minute. Let's go ahead and go over the gear. We'll start with the weapon. In this build's case, a lot of times, like with Bone Storm build, you'll be running Shadow Hook in the weapon slot, and you'll be running Trag'Oul's in here. With this build, you want it to be the opposite, mainly so you can have an offhand, even though none of the offhands are really super great for this build. And the only reason I'm using in this one is because my other two offhands don't really have the greatest stat rolls, as you can see there and there. This one had really good all-around stat rolls, and then I threw cooldown reduction because this build does rely very heavily on cooldown reduction to be the most efficient, and it would be nice if I could get even more. I'm only at 38% apparently, so I thought I was higher than that. But anyways, that's all right. Yeah, so Trag'Oul's Corroded Fang is what you want in the weapon slot, and you want to put cooldown reduction on it. I tried rolling for 10%, only got 9. And keep in mind that none of my gear is very optimized. Some of the things don't even have the right stats on them, and it's, yeah. And I've already cleared an 80 with this really easily. I could probably go up to like an 85 or so. It just kind of depends, but I'll probably just be running an 80 for an example as well. Anyways, the Cursed Scythe rune of Grim Scythe now has a 100% chance to apply a curse that deals 182% chance. Don't really worry about all that. But you deal 182% increased damage to cursed enemies. That's what we're using that for. Sorry, I was getting kind of tongue twisted. So yeah, and we're going to be using our Decrepify curse, so we are increasing our total damage by, it can go up to 200%, which is really nice, but mine's only 182. It's better than 150, but anyways. And then, of course, our offhand, we are using this mainly to get more cooldown reduction, and of course we've also got more vitality and life, intelligence, and damage on there too. I think the total damage, yeah, since this was a pretty good roll, and if I put a Royal Emerald in there, the damage does jump up. You can actually see 24% but you really want cooldown reduction for this build because we've got loads and loads of damage. And for the ring, or for the jewelry, you're going to again want to be using the Endless Walk set, which consists of the Traveler's Pledge and the Compass Rose. For your other ring, there are two options here. The first option is Convention of Elements, which is what I was doing this build with before, and it does increase your damage by a lot. Obviously, Convention of Elements, mine's only at 191%. And it's very efficient on the Necromancer as well, because the Necromancer only has 3 elements, so it rolls through more often. You get like I guess it's 33.5% chance, or 33.3 repeating chance of uptime, not chance, of uptime rather than the 25% for other classes. But you have to time everything, and it's not super hard, but you have to kind of time everything just right when you're casting your skills, because Corpse Lance is a physical skill. So I have opted to go for more survivability, and I am using the Unity Ring instead. Of course, make sure your follower has a Unity Ring too. And then I am also using a Thunder Fury and a Wereward on her. And then also a Dovu Energy Trap to increase the stuns she does by 25%. So moving on, we are also using Dainty's Binding. Again, as with other builds, this just increases our overall toughness whenever an enemy is affected by Decrepify, and we want enemies to be affected by Decrepify all the time, so we're going to be casting Decrepify all the time. For our bracers, we're going to be using Nemesis bracers. You can use Parthan Defenders. It's not a whole lot of point to it in this build. Whenever you use Land of the Dead and enemies are frozen, it would give you more toughness out of that, but they're not going to be attacking you anyways, and you're going to be melting them. So it's you're really hunting for elite packs in this build. So Nemesis bracers are kind of just the way to go. Not to say you can't use Parthan Defenders, but Nemesis bracers are probably going to be the better option. And the set pieces, you're going to want the entire Trag'Oul's Scales set, or the Trag'Oul's Avatar set, rather. And the 2-piece set bonus, Blood Rush, gains the effect of every rune, which is super, super nice. So you've got Potency, which increases armor. Heals for 2% of your maximum health for every enemy passed through. This actually comes in extremely handy. I didn't think that sounded like much, but it comes in extremely handy. Yeah, handy. Molting, which leaves a corpse whenever you use it at the original location. This is going to come in really nice for trying to break through doors and such, because we don't have any attack besides Corpse Lance. So if we come to a door that we can't break through, it's kind of super annoying, but you can just do that, and then there's a corpse, and then you can blast off your Corpse Lance and break the door. So that's kind of one reason I was saying it's kind of a gimmicky build, but it's obviously good. It's the top build right now, unless it gets nerfed, of course. And then the 4-piece set bonus, while at full life, your healing skills, or your healing from skills, is added to your maximum life for 45 seconds, up to 100% more. So that's basically double your life as kind of a, I don't know, I guess you can think of it as like a shield in a way. And then your 6-piece set bonus, your life spending abilities deal 3,300% increased damage, but cost twice as much life. However, your healing from skills is also increased by 100%. So we'll go over the healing and life spending skills when we get to the skills. For the gems, there's not a ton of play here. You can swap out Esoteric for something else if you find yourself not dying, or if you find yourself very tough. But for this particular version, I'm using Esoteric Alteration. And then we're also going to be using Stone of Vengeance, Zeal's Stone, I guess that's how it said, Stone of Vengeance. Damage is you deal is increased by a certain percent for every 10 yards between you and the enemy. Maximum increase is at 50 yards, and there's also a 20% chance to stun the enemy on hit. So this comes in handy with elite packs and, of course, Rift Guardians. If there's a Rift Guardian here, you can get really far away and cast Land of the Dead and then just nuke him. Nuke him from there. So that's basically just a damage increaser. And then, of course, we're using Bane of the Trapped. Like many people say, it's probably the best gem in the game. And yeah, enemies under any control impairing effects take more damage. Well, obviously, they're going to be under the Land of the Dead. There are still, every now and then, some elite packs that you can't stun, and those are really annoying, and they do take longer to kill. But for the most part, enemies are stunned by Land of the Dead. Go ahead and go over the cube really fast. As we said earlier, we're using Shadow Hook, and we are also using Corpse Whisperer Pauldrons. This increases Corpse Lance damage by an insane amount for 3 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. So do the math, it's a lot, and you'll see a lot later. And then, of course, we're doing Crisban's Sentence. You deal 100% increased damage against slowed enemies, which is really nice, or triple this bonus against affected enemies by any other control impairing effects. So stuns, basically, freeze, whatever. 300% damage. Very, very good. Now, on to the skills. We are using Decrepify. And like a lot of builds, when I came off the Bone Storm build and went to this, I had to move a couple of skills around, so it does kind of take some getting used to. So I've moved Decrepify here. And we're using Borrowed Time, gain 1% cooldown reduction for every enemy cursed up to a maximum of 20%. Like I said, this is a very cooldown reduction dependent build. And whoops. And while we're on the subject of cooldown reduction, you'll also be wanting Blood is Power. After cumulatively losing 100% of your maximum life, all ability cooldowns are reduced by 20%. So whether you're taking damage or you're spending enough skills that cost health, even though this doesn't actually cost health anymore, we'll get into that in a minute, it's adding up to that 100%, which will trigger the 20% cooldown reduction, which is really nice. Simulacrum, is that how it's pronounced? Simulacrum? Simulacrum, yeah. We're using that, and it creates a simulacrum made of blood that will duplicate your secondary skills for 15 seconds. And then your maximum essence, we're using Reservoir Rune, which your maximum essence is increased by 100% while it's active, and that is because we're increasing our damage by that as well. For every point of maximum essence, increase your damage by 0.5%. So that is why we're using Reservoir when we activate this and Land of the Dead to freeze them. It's just insanely multiplying our damage. And then, of course, we're using Corpse Lance, Blood Lance. This costs 2% health per corpse, but the rune spends 2% more of your total health, or 2% of your total health, to launch an additional lance from yourself towards the target enemy. So you're launching double the lances as you would before, and then the simulacrum is launching even more because he's duplicating your skills. So lots and lots and lots of single target damage. We are using Devour as our next skill. We're using Cannibalize. Each corpse consumed restores 3% of your health. So basically, when you run in and pop your Land of the Dead, say this is a elite pack, you're going to be wanting to hit, you're going to be wanting to spam both of these skills, just like you see me down there. Just keep clicking them. You can click them at the same time. You can hold them both down, and for about 4 or 5 seconds, it seems like they both work together, and then all of a sudden this one, Devour, will kind of stop working. So it seems like it's best to just keep clicking them. If you're clicking them fast enough, you're not really going to notice that you're not going to notice that Corpse Lance isn't firing or whatever, or if there's a delay, anything like that. Yeah. So keep clicking them both because this is costing 2% health per corpse, and if you hold it down, you can just watch your health just empty almost instantly. So you want this You want to use this to keep restoring your health and also keep your essence up, because you're going to be using essence from casting Decrepify all the time. So, yeah, that is how we are making essence. The next skill is Land of the Dead, Frozen Lands. Of course, this is in the Bone Storm build. All corpse skills can be used at will for 10 seconds. It basically creates a kind of graveyard that has infinite corpses in it, so you can spam your corpse skills, which is Devour and Corpse Lance. And then the Frozen Rune, the Frozen Lands Rune, which freezes everything. And we are using Blood Rush. We've got Potency on because it doesn't really matter. We've got all the runes. If you were using a convention of elements, because this is a physical skill, then you would want a physical rune activated on here. But you get all of these runes anyways from our 2-piece Trag'Oul's set bonus. So if you're not using Ring of Elements like I am, it doesn't really matter which one you have. Oh, I guess all these are physical. Well, never mind. It doesn't really matter which one you have active then, because it doesn't double the effect as far as I know. And then you're definitely going to want movement speed, because you always need that mobility. Maximum essence to really help out with that damage from our Shadow Hook again. And then put everything else in intelligence, unless you're low on life. I've got 1.2 million, so I'm not putting any of vitality. And then in offense, you're definitely going to want critical hit chance, damage, cooldown reduction, and then attack speed. Probably that order. For this to be really, really effective, you're probably going to really want your 800 points so you can max all of this stuff out. But attack speed definitely last. Definitely last. Critical hit chance first, probably cooldown reduction after that, then critical hit damage, and then finally attack speed if you don't have 800 Paragon levels. For this, you're going to want, I actually hadn't thought about this, but you'll probably want life, resist all, armor, and life regeneration. Maybe switch the order of resist all and armor. But I would probably max life first. I don't know. It kind of depends on this one, really. It's kind of up in the air. Actually, because we're using standalone, I actually forgot to go over the passives, didn't I? Because we're using standalone, I would max armor first, then life and resist all, and then utility, probably want life per hit, area damage, resource cost reduction, and then gold fine. Yeah. Now the passive skills, because we forgot, we went over Blood is Power, we just went over standalone. Final Service basically is our cheat death, and then Spreading Malediction, receive a 1% damage bonus for each enemy affected by your curses. So these are all pretty standard. It's pretty much the same on the Bone Storm build. I mean, there's a few things you can switch out if you really like. But that is basically the build, guys. We will go ahead and hop in and do a Greater Rift 80. And I will show you what I mean by it's kind of gimmicky. Especially if you get a bad floor that's... it's getting hard to talk. That has a lot of doorways. I hate floors with doorways on this build. But your Blood Rush now has 2. Let's see if there's 2 elite packs. Good, there are. Make sure he's cursed. Curse them. Now we want to kind of pull these guys together. Come on, engage them. And then we don't want to lose sight of them, so pop everything. And we're going to have to... No, we're going to get frozen. And we need to kill everything before everything dies. Yay, we got him. Because if you don't... Did we... Oh, darn, we didn't get the gold. Alright, if you don't get them killed, then you have to wait a while. Now, because we've got so much cooldown reduction from skills and gems and various things, even though it was only at like 38%, I think, it's still higher because of skills and passives and whatnot. It doesn't take too long to wait for these things to cool down, but it does take a while if you don't get all the elite packs killed at once. But we will get this guy next time. And even though there are a few corpses on the ground now, where did he go? There we go. And you can see it just melts elite packs. And feel free to go ahead and clear trash while that's up as well. But since we're using double the corpses for both of these skills, or because of both of these skills, the corpses that you leave on the ground from this really aren't good for much. But just keep hopping around, cursing things. Remember, you're not clearing trash with this build. You are specifically elite hunting. And because you have to wait so long for... because you have to wait so long for the cooldown of Land of the Dead and Simulacrum... Yeah, that's... I keep forgetting how to say that. You want to try and get as many elite packs together as you can. And of course, I'm not having any luck, but I just found this one. And they're very spread out. Come on, why are they all... I gotta get them back together so I can kill them. Alright. And then you just basically eat the elite pack up. So it's, again, I'm just saying it's kind of gimmicky because, I guess because of the way it plays, but it's certainly viable. Again, like I said, it is the top build right now for the Necromancer. So it's not gimmicky in the way that it's only kind of fun and it doesn't work. It's gimmicky in the way of how it plays, but... and it looks like I'm kind of running out of time, but we will catch up. I'm fairly certain. But remember, you want to be cursing enemies because you're getting that boost from spreading maledictions. And then just target the elite, melt them, target everything else around, and this is when you clear out the trash. And then as soon as everything is down, you continue on. It's kind of painful leaving all that trash. It really is. Yay, 2 elite packs. Let's see if we can get more. Doesn't seem so. So now you basically just have to hop around and wait. Uh-oh. We're stuck. And remember, we're also gaining a toughness bonus after we used Blood Rush. And there we go. And then we're just melting everything else. Every time we use Blood Rush, we gain a boost of armor. So our toughness goes way up as long as that little bar shows on top of there. And of course, it's also giving us mobility. Now here we're actually still doing a little bit of damage because of the conduit shrine. Hooray. And he's about to die just from the conduit shrine and that. So we're not going to worry about popping Land of the Dead. You can jump through walls, kind of like any other teleporting skill, as long as there is an open pathway, an open door or such. If there's a closed pathway and there's like a door that you have to break open, you cannot jump through those walls. Just hoping to find another elite pack, but I guess I'm not going to. That's alright. The cooldown isn't too bad on this. Like I said, when you include all your skills, And you can go ahead and clear the trash while you're at it, because it really doesn't take long. But when you get all the, when you consider all your skills and passives and everything along with your gear, you actually have pretty good cooldown reduction. Whoa! And that's exactly where that heal comes in handy when we use Blood Rush. But now we do have to wait just a little bit. Go ahead and see if we can find another elite pack. We're not doing anything else. So you can take this downtime. If you can find another elite pack that's kind of far away, you can lead them, or you can start trying to group up all this trash here. And then just nuke them. They go down with ease. This is surprisingly a surprisingly tough build. It grants you a decent amount of toughness on its own, and then you're so mobile that you're not usually taking damage. Of course there's another one. You did see where I've gotten pretty low a couple times. I haven't died yet. The first time I did an 80, when I was first playing this build, I died like 5 times because I kept forgetting which slots I had the skills set on. But I still beat it with like a minute and a half, 2 minutes remaining. So when you can die that many times and still complete it, with that much time left. Whee! Reminds me of the monk's dash. It works a lot of the same. And don't forget to, of course, there's always another elite pack right beyond where I check. So this hasn't been the super stupendous rift for bunching them up. I've had to wait for my skills, and I actually didn't get that clicked last time, apparently. And I've only been able to kill 1 elite pack. A lot of times you can round up 2 or more, and that's really, really, really what you want to be doing. But we're still doing okay for just having found the gear that I have, and not really. I did change, you know, I re-rolled a couple of stats, but for not having, you know, very few ancient pieces and the right stats and really good gear and all that, just coming right in with even little practice and doing a greater rift 80 is pretty nice. Every now and then, Blood Rush seems to get stuck on things. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if that's a glitch. I'm really hoping there's an end to this floor soon. Yeah, I know there's an elite pack there, but I'm going to go here and hope we get a better floor that we can... because we're going to have to wait anyways. Look at all this trash. Such good density. And I can't use any of it. Now, if you have good enough density like this, and you're really close to the end of the rift, you can go ahead and pop your stuff and clear it all out. I mean, we got a decent amount of progression there. Probably not as much as an elite pack would have gained, and that is a dead end. Let's go around this way just so we don't get stuck on that hole. There's an elite pack, of course, right at the end of where I always check. Now, again, this is where it gets a little gimmicky. I'm going to kill this elite pack, and it's going to bring out the Rift Guardian. But unfortunately, then my skills will be down for for the Rift Guardian. Go ahead and kill all that stuff. Then we'll get these orbs. Here he is. We've got quite a few corpses on the ground, but you can see those go away very, very quickly. So just be hopping around. You can just kind of throw your curse around. I mean, you can throw a couple of blood lances on them from the few bodies that you leave on the ground, the few corpses from using Blood Rush, but it's really not. It's really not going to do a whole lot. Blood Rush actually doesn't cost health anymore because of, what is it? Because of one of the runes it has. So yeah, that's not actually using life. And then there goes the Rift Guardian. If I just hold down Blood Rush, well, you can see my life start to drain. There's the shield I was talking about, 2.4 million. So you gain quite a lot of life. That's another reason that you would want to put points in life first, or between life and armor first. It's kind of really your choice, because you've got that either that shield or you've got standalone increasing your armor. So either one of those is fine. But guys, this has been the Trag'Oul's Blood Lance build. It is a lot of fun. Again, I've said it quite a few times now, but it's kind of gimmicky. But again, it's also the top build on the charts right now. This is the same build he's using. It looks like all the same skills. I actually hadn't compared, but it looks like everything is pretty much exactly the same. Well, he's using a different offhand, but again, it's not really about, none of the offhand powers actually help this build, so it's really about whatever offhand you have that gives you the best stats, and you really do want cooldown reduction on it, though. As you saw, these big times, and apparently that didn't pop. That's why, yeah, that's why my health wasn't going down as fast. But even not popping that, I guess, we still killed the Rift Guardian very, very quickly. So, hope you guys enjoyed this build. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and a comment down below. And please subscribe, guys, if you haven't and you want to see more. Thanks, guys, and more good stuff to come. Take care.